The village of Oak Hill was in the international spotlight Thursday morning as British Broadcasting Corporation journalist and television personality Huw Edwards came to the village to discuss small-town politics and the museum itself. After Edwards toured the museum, he sat down with the Telegram and discussed why the BBC chose to come to Oak Hill.
Two things have brought the BBC to Oak Hill. Firstly, and most importantly today, the presidential election, because we're just a few days away, as you guys know, and there's a lot of interest in the UK in this election and the way it's developing. So I'm here to report on the election first of all, but I could have gone anywhere in the States, clearly, to report the election. So I was looking for one of the big swing states, that's clearly Ohio. And then I thought, as a Welsh person, it would be good for me to come to Oak Hill because there's a good Welsh connection with Oak Hill. So
Edwards even learned more about the village as he interviewed Oak Hill Mayor Roy McCarty Jr., who scoped him about the culture and the people of the village and how they vote. The mayor added there's both Republicans and Democrats in Oak Hill, but overall the community tends to lean to a conservative tilt. After his interview with Mayor McCarty was completed, Edwards spoke to us about the differences in the British and American political processes and how the British people view both of our presidential candidates this year. What do British the public think of Mr. Obama and Mr. Romney? This kind of in an overview.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, your debates are much better than our debates. Our debates, which have been recent things, okay, you've had debates for a long time. Our debates at election time are very recent. Our last election in 2010 was the first debate we've had between party leaders on television. So just think about that. You've had much more experience of that. So we see your debates as really exciting ones. We follow them. We like the kind of cut and thrust of political debate. So that's the point. That's the first point. Secondly, there's a great deal of interest in who wins because whoever sits in the White House wields a lot of power and a lot of influence around the world. So that's very important. And we also like to think that we have a special relationship with the person who sits in the White House. So that's a very important thing as well. The other thing I'd say to you is this. You have a much more civilised transfer of power as well than we have in Britain. If we have an election in Britain and the Prime Minister loses, he's out of Downing Street the next day. The removal vans turn up and he's out, or she is out. In the States, you can lose an election in November, but actually the inauguration isn't until the end of January. So there's a bit of a period of handing over and a bit of a period of making sure that everything's stable and, you know, properly organised. So I think in that sense you also have a rather more civilised transition period than the one we have. But it's a really exciting thing to be part of, and you know it happens every 4 years. And I have to say, as somebody who does lots of political reporting, it's one of the great joys for me to come and follow the American presidential campaign. It's a very, very exciting thing to be part of.
In another part of his visit, Edwards spoke to community Welsh leader Elizabeth Davis about the museum and its future. Edwards also said stepping into the museum was like going back 200 years in time, and after his visit was completed, had very fond feelings about the people he met and the village itself.
You know, as I was saying, there's a great bond of friendship between British people and American people, and it's not just a matter of language, and it's not just a matter of history. It's a matter of maybe enjoying the same things and maybe looking at the world in a similar way. But it's always a pleasure for someone like me from Britain to come to the States and visit. And I have to say, one of the big things that strikes you immediately when you come to the States, no matter where it is, and it's certainly the case in Ohio, is that people are warm and people are friendly. People want to give you a warm welcome. And it's always a pleasure to be able to experience that.
This has been Red Thompson Jr. reporting for the Telegram.